It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We're continuing our series with Mayor Cusat. One of the things that he wants to present to you is he will be going around the city. This is a paid show by Mayor. He's invested in presenting information to the public. It's open to other candidates as well. But primarily when we had the first series, the first show, we discussed different facts, particularly about the mayor. And you can certainly see that show on our app, ssptv.com, or go to his website, mayorcusat.com. One of the things that I think we're concerned about, anyone's concerned about, is actual facts, not personalities. You know, I hear this all the time, you know, she tells jokes, he's a nice guy, and that's great. There's a lot of great people in this town, and the problem is we have to put people in office who know what's happening, because we end up paying the price. As you can see from budgets and that are over budgets, etc., people are not paying attention to actually running it as a business. So what Mayor Cusat is doing is presenting facts, questions. It's interesting because when he ran the first show, I get people coming up to saying, well, is he keeping the chief? Absolutely. Chief Speziali has been on my show and said he works extremely well with Mayor Cusat. We'll talk a little bit later down the series on that. So it's important to get information. So today, Mayor, I want to go over something with you. There's an email that was sent out here, okay? And let me see here if I have it on my, yeah, here it is, okay? Okay, here's what it says. I would like to give the citizens of Hazleton a quick summary of the physically responsible but tough decisions that were made in the past 4 years. Unfortunately, in January of 2018, for the first time in 4 years, the Hazleton City Council was forced to raise property taxes to cover the rising personal expenses that originated from the union contracts, which included raises, health care benefits, and pensions. Council was also forced to agree to increase the earned income tax to cover minimum mandatory obligations for pensions agreed upon prior to my term in office. Could you tell me what that's about?
The MMO? The MMO is the minimum mandatory obligations for the pension. We are paying $6 million a year to go towards the pension costs of former employees. Okay, and so council had to agree upon that. That was in the Act 47 recovery plan, where we had to go to the state or to the judge and asked for a special exemption to increase the EIT taxes. Okay, now the city had also decided to borrow money to cover the running deficit that has been carried for many years. The good news is, because of these decisions, financial strains were identified and addressed so the city can move forward and continue to progress. So every year, the city is basically behind. There's $650,000, $850,000. So we're basically using January's money to pay November and December bills from the year before. So we were always behind. So every year when it comes at the end of the year, we're having strains. We have to hold bills back so we can make payroll and pay health insurance, so we're not paying the vendors. So we finally made the tough decision to borrow that money to make us even. So we started January 1st this year with no carryover accounts payables moving into the new year, and so it should be a much smoother cash flow moving forward now.
All right. To help, I'm continuing on with your email. To help offset all those responsible decisions that appear to be negative, the administration has worked extremely hard to find ways to save money. The city of Hazleton has received over $10 million in various grants that were utilized for a large variety of improvements, equipment, and training. My administration has acquired a total of 19 emergency response vehicles, 6 compressed natural gas buses, 1 fire engine, and 8 pieces of road equipment valued at nearly $5 million without using property tax money. Put this together for me.
Okay, so The city has, we apply for every grant that's eligible. So we have been awarded $10 million now in grants in the last 4 years that were put to use in various ways through the city. Some were directly for the city, some were for entities of the city, some were for private and organizations, but they were all things that were for the city. You know, the airport got some, we got some for the playgrounds, a lot of stuff for the police department. You know, so it's all those grants which we receive the money for. It does not have to come out of taxpayers' property tax.
Okay, so when I hear you saying the grants, I'm thinking that anyone could do this. Okay, I mean, so what input did you have in? Okay, because we're looking at a experience here. We're looking at people who are business oriented and could put these things into effect. So I mean, would these things have happened? You know, if Jeff Cusat wasn't the mayor? Well,
they've always talked about, you know, we should apply, we should do this, we should do that. But in the past, everything wasn't done. You know, so council sits there. So we should get a grant for this. We should be trying for this. So my administration has. We have a weekly meeting with my staff, and we talk about our needs and what we could look for to get those. We also have monthly meetings or bi-monthly meetings with the engineer firms for them to go over what's new, what grants are coming out now that we could apply for, and how we can improve different aspects of the city. So we're taking a much more active approach on going after the grants that are available.
So what you're saying, and correct me, what you're saying is that there was a lot of talk about getting things, okay?
Yes.
Okay, and then that you actually put them into effect?
We do. We went after them aggressively. However, now the people that award these grants, they see the progress that has been made in the city. They see the vision that's out there right now. So they're more willing to put money into a project that they believe in. So obviously getting these grants, the awarders are positive and agree with what's going on in the city.
All right, so to make it clear for the person out there, and we're looking at, I'm hoping that people vote for the right person, whether it's you or whomever, but based on experience. How does this then benefit me as a citizen in Hazleton? Okay, how does that, you know, why is this important to me?
Well, there's a lot of stuff in here that is needed by the city. So if it's not given to us or granted to us, it's something that would have to be paid for out of the general fund. So therefore, general fund equals property tax increase. So the benefit that a citizen gets is it actually keeps your tax rate, you know, more stable.
All right, so on this email, you have on your website, and he has on his website, everything that's in here is backed up by facts.
There's a list of every grant that has been awarded since 2016.
All right, folks, I'm talking to Mayor Cusat. I told you that he is paying for a series to bring information to you, and we like to deal with facts, so it's good because everything he's saying is right here, and he will be addressing other things on the other series. We come back, we're going to continue on with this, so you get a full understanding of what's going on. Keep an open mind on all the candidates. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. We're have a series going here with Mayor Cusat, talking about the city, and we're dealing with facts. It's an opportunity for the citizens to get a clear understanding. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can email me at sam@ssptv or call the office 570-455-7267 and just leave your question. Constructive comments, constructive criticism is what we're looking for, the mayor's looking for, or download our app at ssptv.com. Mayor, when you're talking about grants, because I want people to understand that it's just not a, you know, you write it down and boom, they give it to you. The state responds in giving grants. How do they base their decisions?
Well, if they see that you're moving forward to a project, they're more willing to fund it and then refund a next phase to it. So a lot of the projects we have, phase 1, phase 2. So if they give you money for phase 1 and it's looking like a project that they would like to see continued, it's easier to get funding for phase 2. And if you're doing things that are positive and creating jobs and beautifying the community, then they're more willing to, fund those grants compared to some, ideas that come from other areas or other people that may not be so realistic.
So, in other words, the fact that you're able to get, a specific grant, all right, as we were just discussing before, if you start a road project and you have a grant for, 2 blocks, all right, if the state sees progress in the city, then they could likely give you a grant to continue on with that project. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's how it would work, yes.
So what's the communication that you have to have? Because here again, we're talking about experience. All right? It's like a doctor. A doctor who has a trained eye, who's been doing it for a while, he'll go and say, I know exactly what to do. But if you have a person who's just coming out, which is fine, they have to go through a lot of procedures before they can get into what the doctor who has experience. So we're looking for that kind of experience in putting together these grants. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's being able to work with the people that you surround yourself with. My 2 chiefs are amazing at writing grants. And then they see the progress we're making with the police department and the fire department. And then we're able to get vehicles. We got a lot of vehicles, which we're going to talk about next.
Well, let's go right. Okay, so you're in this email.
Yes.
My administration has acquired a total of 19 emergency response vehicles, 6 compressed natural gas buses, 1 fire engine, and 8 pieces of road equipment valued at nearly $5 million without using property tax money. So where does your expertise come in here?
Well, we're able to show progress in everything. So the police department obviously will make a huge impact on crime lately. So the awarders of these grants are more willing to give you the tools needed to keep progress and improving on those things. So we have gotten vehicles. We put them to good use. We put new technology in them. They see that. They gave us a couple more. Then they gave us more technology. Same thing with the fire department. Our fire department's responding to a record number of calls. So they were willing to give us response vehicles. We just got another grant last week for an emergency truck for rescue in our trailer truck. So it's things like that keep you getting the grants when you see the progress.
Mm-hmm. So once again, I think what you're trying to convey on this series here is the fact that it's not just a matter of running for office and sitting in your office, but you need to have experience that goes along with this particular office.
I believe the city's on the right track. So why change direction right now? I mean, everything we have is going full steam ahead. Our police department, our fire department, our street department. We got new equipment for the first time in decades. I was able to get three small plow trucks. We got 3 larger ones that 2 of them are coming in later this month. We were able to get a backhoe, a street sweeper. We just ordered a roller. It's all equipment that we've been in need of, but we were able to do this by coming up with creative ways of financing through liquid fuels money, and there's a lot of business decisions that were made there. So we're kind of planning for the future to move out that way. I just got a grant now. We got 1 grant. We matched up with another grant, so I got $150,000 for airport equipment. Mm-hmm. To use on the runways and out there. So we're really kind of parlaying everything into the future. So we're steamrolling ahead.
All right, so now you by receiving the SAFER, which is Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Responders, and the COPS, Community Oriented Policing Services grants, the City of Hazleton, with 42 police officers, 23 firefighters, is at the highest public safety staffing in many years.
When I came into office, we had 36 active police officers. We got that up to 40. By getting to 40, we were able to apply for the COPS grant, which gives you 5% of your force. So now we were able to get those 2. So number 41 and 42 are free for the first 3 years. So we actually increased our police force by 15% since I came into office. The fire department, we were at 21 members, which is 18 man and 3 chiefs. We're now at 23. Again, those there's 3 of those getting paid for by the SAFER grant. So we increased our force, which is now we have up to 5 guys and 5 pieces of equipment at all times. So we're safer. We have faster response times, and it's not costing us additional money.
See, that's what I like the public to understand, okay? And I hope they never have to use a fire department, or but in case they have this latest equipment. This reminds me of a person who has a fireplace. They start the fire, and they're able to get the fire started. And then if someone says, oh, that looks like it's a good fire, I'm going to add more wood to it to make it really warm, okay? And that sort of reminds me of what the state does in terms of what the progress has to be made, and then they'll come and say, okay, you're doing progress, this is why we're giving you this. Am I correct in saying that?
I believe so. I really think we've made a good dent in everything. We're heading in the right direction. We're turning everything around. It's a slow process. It took us 25, 30 years to get to the decline. In the last 3 years, we made a big change in direction.
All right, so you also state in this email, I was able to secure yearly savings by meeting with, interviewing, and negotiating with multiple healthcare and insurance companies. The city will see a savings of over $300,000 annually on retired healthcare, $48,000 on vision and dental insurance, and a savings of over $80,000 by working with new workers' comp insurance company. Now, here again, this is a point where you have to sit down and be able to know what you're doing. Is that correct?
Correct. You need to be able to sit down and negotiate and to discuss new ideas with people that believe in you.
Well, what separates you, Jeff Cusat, from anyone else who is running that in the current situation?
Well, I'm more concerned with myself. I believe that I have the abilities to get these done. I've proven I can get them done, and I'd like to continue. So we came up with this $300,000 in retired savings. The idea was to pull the retired people out of the fund that are eligible for Medicare, the older, and give them their separate plan. They actually got a better plan, and it's cheaper. Now, there's a couple of people that are a little upset with the plan, but it's not the plan, it's the way that they pay for their medications. So that's something we're still working out, but it's not the plan that they're upset with. The dental and vision, we switched, we're saving $48,000 out of there. And the workers' comp I wasn't happy with the old company in the fact that it was letting claims linger around a little bit more. So I met with several companies, and I came up with a company that I really liked. They're much more aggressive to get things done, to get people back to work, which not only saves us on the yearly pay, it's going to get people back to work, which is going to cut down on overtime.
You're looking at here, just alone here, Jeff, close to $500,000. Almost $500,000 in savings.
Yearly, correct.
That's a lot of money.
Sure.
What does 1 mil bring you?
1 mil brings about $900,000.
Okay, so it's saving almost
$500,000.
$500,000.
Correct.
That's only here.
That's
but if you put the other things together, you're probably in saving them at least a mil and a half. I mean, I'm just adding
Sure.
these up. Okay. The city and I were I'm reading this email that he has sent out. The city and I were successfully awarded an arbitration decision on pension overtime. This award will save the city over $400,000 annually, and this is on top of the other savings, correct?
Correct.
What's that about? Earning income tax.
Well, it was the old contracts that we came into, and there are police officers now retiring under the new pension plan C, where there's been discussion going back and forth over, they feel that they should get one retirement that includes overtime, and and myself, the administration, and the actuary feel it does not. So we did kind of go back and forth and went to arbitration, and the city was favorably awarded. This prevents people from racking up overtime on their final few months of work, like happens, in other places, and so we will see a savings for forever.
It's all the savings, folks. This is actually his website, I like to, even though the fact that a political person's paying, I always want to make sure that they're talking fact and they're telling the truth. We're not just going to put anybody on who's going to just give you hearsay. But if you want to talk about the equipment, the safety, here's all the everything he said. Here are all the grants he's talking about in detail. Okay, then we get to neighborhood. We're going to talk about the parks, playgrounds, and recreation. That's probably a little bit down the future, right, with another series. But everything is on here, the economic growth, etc. Interesting things, facts.
MayorCusat.com.
Yeah, I was just saying, MayorCusat.com, we have all this information here. It's just a process of getting information. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. We're continuing on a series that Mayor Cusat is paying for to bring you information in the city of Hazleton. On this email, I'm going to conclude so many positive things are happening in the city of Hazleton. Economic growth is on the rise with businesses moving in. Blighted properties are being repurposed. Property values are soaring as available residential properties disappears. And people are feeling safer as crime rates continue to decrease. Here again, everything's in detail on his website. He just printed it out. With the tough decisions that have been made, the contract negotiations finalized, the economic projects that are started, and the grants and equipment we have received, please allow me to continue and complete the financially responsible plan I started by re-electing me to another term as your mayor. And that's Mayor Jeff Cusat. So what else would you like to add? Because I know there's the other series we're going to discuss all this other important stuff.
Again, nobody wants to raise taxes. Everybody wants their roads fixed. We only have so much money, and there's tough decisions that have to be made to utilize the money that we get and put it in spots that we think is the best spot at that time. It's very expensive to fix roads. It's very expensive to make your city safe. You try to, put money where it needs to go. Well, you have, people say, like, where is my property tax money going? Property tax only brings in about $3.5–4 million a year to the general fund. Our health insurance is $3.2 million. Our police department costs over $4 million. So when you say, where is my property tax money going? It's going to not even enough money to fund the police department. So the money that comes from everywhere else, you've got to be really kind of put in the right spots at that time. A lot of people say that about the tough decisions. They are very tough decisions. And they talk about, like, transparency. My door is always open. Anybody that wants to come and ask me a question, I'll get you the answer as soon as I can. I can't always drop what I'm doing. I have 5–6 meetings a day, always on the phone, so it's not easy for me to respond, but I get back to you. But transparency is not attending a confidential meeting, leaving, sharing the conversation with others to try to stir up trouble. There's a difference between what transparency is and what some people think it is. But there's a lot of tough decisions out there, and a lot of the stuff that is discussed cannot be further discussed. It cannot be open to the public. That's how you survive in business.
Well, I think those are the kind of things that, when a campaign comes around, listen, people run for various reasons, okay, and whatever. I think, as I said to John Trin when he was running, he invested every month, and what he wanted to do is just bring information. And he was open. If you have any questions, like you're saying, if you have any questions or any comments, constructive ones, you want to know about them. And folks, you can email me, sam@ssptv.com, or call me at 570-455-7267. I'd prefer you calling the office here with your questions, because then it's easier for me to get them to Mayor Cusat. Mayor, about a minute left. Why is this series so important?
Because it's hard. The city's done so much in 4 years. It's so hard to get the information out to people. So I feel it's worth investing in trying to explain everything in detail. Instead of spending money on a one-line commercial or a quick 30-second TV commercial, I'd rather sit down and try to discuss and answer questions in detail and in length to be able to address what needs to be done in the city.
I do want to convey this. I mean, I know I want them to ask the questions here, but I mean, you never have any problem with anyone calling City Hall.
No, I get hundreds of
okay.
calls. I get text messages, Facebook messages. I'm so open. I put my phone number on the front page of the newspaper when I took office.
Yeah.
I will answer any question I can as long as it gets to me.
Okay. Well, and the reason I'm asking you to call me is because for the TV show, it's a lot better for me. But however, you're open for phone calls, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to continue on with the series, folks. This is series number 2, Mayor Cusat. But the most important thing to do is go to his website, mayorcusat.com. All this information is there. We'll see you next time.